Let's talk about the winners and the losers of Season 1.
I've opted to include multiple variants. HLP, that is Mark's Destro Holy. First season I'll go tier B, because it does have a decent amount of immunities, and damage is going to be very high with Destro.
Alright, I gotta get this out of the way right away. There are going to be comps on this list that are really strong that nobody plays, either because the class isn't common or there are more accessible compositions to be played. Think of Shadow Play, for instance. How many Shadow Priests and how many Resto Shamans are there? Not very many. So we're going to see that a lot. Just because something isn't popular doesn't mean it's not good. With that said, this is a very unfortunate first pick because I never played HLP in Season 1 and I never fought anyone who did, so I can't really speak to it.
Next is going to be, well, Thunder Cleave. Yeah, that just gets a tier S.
This is the first composition on our list that actually features teams that got rank 1 with the composition. It's one of the best comps in the game. I think my prediction was spot on here. It's just one of the best. You saw it in tournaments, you see it at rank 1, you see it all over the ladder. It's probably the most popular comp on the ladder. Great comp.
Shatter Play's way up there. I'd put it at probably tier A.
This one I'd still put at tier A today, knowing what I know about Season 1. I would probably knock it down a peg into like low tier A, something like that. Shadow Priests really just go very quickly, same with mages, but it's still a very strong comp.
Okay, Shadow Cleave. I still think in the first season it's going to be really good, so I'm going to put it up here in somewhere mid-tier A, probably.
This is probably my worst prediction that I made. This isn't even close to tier A. Honestly, I'd put it down at like tier D or something. Just a trash composition right now. I think the reason I put it up there is because mana is such a concern, but this is a comp that can go for a long time. Also, it does well versus Wizard Cleaves. Yeah, I just got this one wrong.
Okay, TSG is going to be outstanding in the first season. I'm going to put it at tier A, though.
I would drop this down to tier B for the first season. I think this is one of those comps that's going to get better and better as PvE gear releases, but for now, I don't think it's quite as good as I was measuring it.
RLS, this is with Mutilate. It's very competitive back in 2009 and 2010. I don't think it's going to be as strong as it was back then, certainly not, but I think it will be decent. I'm thinking I'll put it in tier B.
RLS is amazing at training down warriors and dismantling them so that they can't use shield wall, and so they die. You couldn't do this in the first season. There's a whole bunch of reasons as to why, but you could do this in 2010, though you shouldn't have been able to, just people didn't know about a macro. Anyway, this has been changed for Season 2, so while we didn't see this in Season 1, I think we will see it in Season 2.
Alright, RLD. This is going to be played as Subtlety. I think this is pretty low. In fact, I'd probably put it around tier D.
I think I probably got this one right. Nobody plays it, and for good reason. I tried playing it once, and it just didn't go well. No Dispel, no Tremor. What more is there to say?
We've got MLD. This is one of the best comps in the game. I think in the first season it's going to be tier S.
All right, this one frustrates me, because I feel like this is one of the best comps in the game, and still nobody's playing it. Like, granted, I don't think it's going to be as good in the first season as it will be, say, in the last season due to mana constraints by the mage and I guess also the druid. But I don't understand why people play it. It's so good. I didn't have a mage to play with in the first season, so I wasn't able to prove that it was good in the first season, but I swear it was. I have now played it in the second season, and it's great.
All right, Turbo Cleave. Turbo Cleave's going to be way up here, probably tier A. I'm going to put it in high B. I think it's really good.
Yeah, I think I was close on this one. I might move it up to like a low A, but nonetheless, it's a great comp, but it's certainly beatable. I saw it was pretty prevalent on the ladder, mostly because Holy Pallies and Warriors are everywhere, and so you just throw an Enhance in there. But yeah, good comp.
ATC, I think it's going to be way less good in the first season, just because there's not much in the way of PvE gear. I'm going to put it at like mid-B.
I think I probably rated this too high, though I'm not sure. I never fought it. You would think that a comp which involves a PvEing warrior and a Holy Pally would be pretty popular if it were good. And I never saw it, and it just didn't spell great things for it. So I suspect it's not as good as what I predicted, which was tier B, so I'd probably put it lower than that.
Double Healer Warrior. I'm going to put it up at A.
Double Healer Warrior totally underperformed in the first season. I couldn't tell you why, but Priest Pally Warrior did really well back in actual Wrath. Maybe it's just a lack of PvE gear, but I did not see it basically at all.
Shadow Play up here at A.
I addressed this at the beginning. It's a great comp. There are very few Shadow Priests and Resto Shamans, so you don't see it very often, but it's very strong. I think I keep it at A.
Mark's Affliction Disc. This is like a drain comp. I don't think it's good, to be honest. The meta is too fast. Cleave is too prevalent.
Yep, this just isn't a thing. It's not even worth mentioning.
Okay, DK LE Disc. I kind of see it as almost like a dark horse. Nobody really played it back when, but I think it's got a ton of potential. Put it high A.
Yeah, I think I got this one right. This comp did achieve rank 1 in Season 1. I think it's really good. It's really scary to fight. You've got Tremor, you got Offensive Dispel, you got Defensive Dispel, you got great peels, off field. It's just a great comp.
LE Shadow Resto Druid. I don't know. I'm going to put this in mid B for now.
Yeah, I stand by this rank. It'll be better in the later seasons when Shadow Priest don't go but for now, tier B.
Okay, WL Paladin. This is just like tier B.
Yeah, this either remains tier B or maybe even drops down to like a high C or something like that. I played it a few times with a few different warriors. I think I played with Dekel as well as with Noise and some others, and we just did all right. Like Thunder Cleave was super hard to beat. Really heavy cleaves were super hard to beat. We did pretty well against LE Lock and the various spell cleaves, except it wasn't free. I don't know. It's just like a decent comp.
Oh, HLD. Put this at low C.
Bad comp.
HLS, I think it's going to be a little bit better than HLD, but not by much. Bloodlust just helps.
Never saw it. Not super strong.
All right, Boomkin Lock Shaman, BLS, or LSD 2.0, whatever you want to call it. This comp's better than people gave it credit for. I think it's the only Boomkin comp I have in this entire list, but I do think it's actually quite good. I'll put it like mid-high B.
I think I got this right. As with most Resto Shaman comps, playing with a niche spec such as Shadow or Boomkin, it's not very common, but I do think it performs well.
All right, WLD is trash.
I didn't even bother trying to make this work this season. I know it's bad. It's just one of those comps that it was popular in TBC, and so people wanted to keep playing it in Wrath, and they kept shoving it. There was maybe one or two teams that could make it work back when it was much easier to be better than your opponents, as everybody was much worse back when. These days, it's much more competitive. Everybody's a lot better mechanically, and so it's just not a comp that you can make work. It's not good.
WL Priest, it does really well against certain wizard cleaves. It does very poorly against heavy cleave. So I just don't see it as being that good. I'm going to put it right here with WLD.
WL Priest and WLS are just not well-rounded enough. They can beat certain comps really well, but then they lose to other comps really hard, so just not a good ladder comp.
Warrior Mage Pally, this comp's good. I do think immunities are going to be really important at the beginning of the expansion because of things like Bandits Insignia, Rogues doing so much damage, Burst being so high. I'll put this at high B.
Very few people play this comp. I think most of the Warrior Paladin combos are just going to pick an LE, and I think half of the mages re-rolled LE because LE is the best spec in the game, so you just didn't really see this. I stand by my rating of it. I think people that play it can definitely make it work because it beats Cleave and it has a lot of immunities, but yeah, it wasn't very popular.
Ret Hunter Disc, this comp's great.
Yeah, this comp's great. It got rank 1. I see it as very strong with cross dispel and immunities. It's just a good comp.
Beast Cleave, just straight up normal Beast Cleave, gonna be great. I would put it in tier S, but I think you can counter it. High A again.
So you know how in PvE there are these fights where if you don't have the right gear, then you probably just die? Like, say, resist gear against Saffron and original WoW? Yeah, me neither. Anyway, I think Beast Cleave is a little bit like this, where if you don't have enough resilience or stamina, then you probably just die to the Bloodlusted Wolves and the Rush Down. So, just like I had said in my original video, I think it's a great comp, but it is counterable.
This is the comp that everybody hates. This is LSP. I think this goes in tier S. Arguably the best comp in the game.
If you told me there was a Wrath tournament and I had to bring one composition, not knowing what I was going to fight or who I'm going to fight or what gear set, anything like that, you told me I can bring one composition to a tournament and I need to win it. This is the comp I'd bring. It's the most well-rounded, strong comp in the game, for Warlocks anyway. I think Thunder Cleave is maybe as good, but it's just insane. And it got rank 1 a bunch. It was played in tournaments. It won the tournament. Yeah.
I think the Priest version is better, so I probably should have put that in, but whatever. I think Jungle is going to be good. I think it's going to be up in tier A somewhere, probably low A. It's strong.
I think I had this one as well. Jungle actually won the tournament over on Europe, which I think is the better of the two battle groups, if you were to ask me. So that indicates that it's super strong, and I think it did get rank 1, so yeah, I think I got this one right.
So this is PHDK. I'm going to put it at low A.
This one didn't perform quite as well as I expected. I'd probably drop it down to a B. It's weird because Pallies are probably the best healer, DKs are insane in the first season, Hunters are good, and Hunters clearly can be viable with Jungle, etc. I don't know. I expected it to be better, but it did all right.
Ret DK Priest. I think this is going to be great. Yeah, you've got Cross Dispel. I think it's a great comp.
Yeah, I never saw this comp. which is surprising. I sort of think that some of it is because a lot of the ret pallies ended up transitioning into preg and playing twos because it's really strong. But yeah, it seems like a great comp. I just never saw it.
Okay, LSD, just straight up traditional LSD. Could be played as Destro or it could be played as Affliction. I think it loses to RMP. Put it at high A.
Comp's insane. It belongs in tier S instead of tier A, in my opinion. It wasn't that popular because there's so few druids for one reason or another, but I think it's nearly as strong as the LSP variant, but it's a little worse versus IMP and Cleave. Just excellent comp, top tier.
Fire. This is the one fire comp that I put on here. Fire, Affliction, Holy Pally. So Mage Lock Pally. It's a good comp in my opinion. It doesn't hold up to some of the other ones. I'll put it at high B.
Yeah, not really. I don't think this is a comp at all. I've tried it. It does okay. I think there are better Fire Mage comps. I think Fire Mage is viable, but this isn't the way to do it. Ellie Mage is the comp that I saw the most. And honestly, there are good Fire comps, and I'll actually be putting out videos on Fire here in a minute, as I did make a Fire Mage. But yeah, I don't think this is the one.
Rogue, Shadow, Druid. Season. Ugh, this is like a mixed bag. I'll put it at high C. I don't know.
No one played it. Restors don't exist. Shadow Priests don't exist. That's the end of that.
Last but not least, certainly not least, is RMP. I'll put it at low S. God, it might even be mid S. Like it's just super. It's super good.
If you were to look at just the teams that ended up getting rank 1, RMP would be seen as one of the best comps in the game. It's the third most popular in terms of those that achieved rank 1 under LSD. But I think unlike, say, Destro LSP, you can't just throw 3 1700 rated players in there and expect them to achieve Gladiator. I think you do have to coordinate somewhat as this composition in order to win. I'd probably stick with low S. So some final thoughts here. I thought that Ret Paladins would do a little bit better. I expected to see more Hunter Ret Cupid type stuff or Ret DK, but I didn't see it that often. Not sure why. Maybe they're all playing Preg. Who knows? But it wasn't super popular. I also thought that Mage Lock would be more popular. I stand by that. I think it's a great comp, but I think it's just harder to play, and so it doesn't lend itself well to popularity. Okay, that's all. Thanks for watching.